It's all right. How are you?
Excellent. I just made my first FSD video with my Meta Ray-Bans. It wasn't great. Uh, I'm too short. I sit too close to the wheel. You can't see that I'm not touching it. So
Uh,
would not recommend the Meta Ray-Bans if you are short and looking to capture first-person video content.
which version is this? 12.5.1?
Yeah,
How's it doing for you?
amazing. It's incredible.
Really?
Um, Yeah, well, you heard me earlier today. My entire opinion on robotaxi readiness has changed because of this version update, uh, and that's big for me. So I'm stoked for everyone to get it.
Yeah, I was reviewing the. By the way, we're live on YouTube as well. Just FYI. I was reviewing the earlier space, and sometimes I miss because I'm doing so much in the background at the same time. Sometimes I miss what people say, and I noticed that you said you think it's within 1 to 2 years robotaxi, and it wouldn't surprise you if we're one update away from robotaxi ready. Did I hear that right?
I think I said 1 to 2 updates away, but the difference between 12.3.6 and 12.5, which was just one update for me. So I guess technically it's not one update because there were point updates in between before I got it. But I am floored. And if they can have that rate of acceleration between this version and the next, then yeah, I think we're 1 to 2 versions away from Robotaxi ready, which is wild.
Well, let's bring Yoda up too. I'm curious about his thoughts on the matter. We have a new member on YouTube, Matthew Tremel. Thank you very much. And I just have to refresh YouTube real quick. Give me 1 second. Yoda, if you're available, please come up to speaker board. Give me 1 second, Sierra. Speaker board. Give me 1 second, Sierra. Um, 1 to 2 updates away from robotaxi ready. So then what do you make of earlier comments? I think Wes Hicks said that Tesla wouldn't start producing the robotaxi until 2026. I didn't watch the X Takeover interview, but that was what Wes Hicks summarized it as.
I also did not watch the X Takeover interview. I heard they got way more time than they anticipated with Elon, which is awesome. But I missed it, sadly. So he said first, late 2026 for production.
Yeah, that's what Wes Hicks said. And that's what Omar was saying too. And so do you expect the robotaxi FSD to first roll out with the sexy cars and then Tesla to build purpose-built robotaxi? Or kind of how do you see next couple of years evolving around FSD robotaxi?
I do think it will roll out to the existing fleet, kind of in tandem with uh, this specific Tesla robotaxi fleet. But I think they're going to launch in small cities first with the robotaxi vehicle.
Gotcha. All right. Let's shift to back to AI topic. So I'm trying to kind of see if you can build a capability in the space around AI and robotics. And maybe try to talk about things that most people may not care about, but um, you know, maybe more technical in nature. Um, so, kind of a general question. First of all, do you read AI papers kind of on a regular
I do.
basis? You do?
I read
Okay.
as many as I can. A lot of them are boring and relate mostly to data and how the data is trained and different training methods of data. And also, I try and stay on top of any emerging regulations and like anything our government is saying about how they plan on regulating the use of AI, which is not much being said by the government thus far.
So let's see. A general question: what do you think was the most impactful AI development in recent weeks?
In oh, there's been many in recent weeks. I'm a really big fan of this company called Clone Robotics right now. Am I allowed to talk about other robotics in here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This doesn't.
Uh,
I'm hoping that this AI space doesn't become kind of like Tesla focused. So that's perfect. Clone robotics. Is that what you said?
yeah, let me pin some stuff down in the purple pill so people can get a good visual on just how impressive the dexterity of this bot is.
A new team who will have exclusive access to our SOTA m- musculoskeletal Android prototypes and compute resources. It says Clone robotics. Hmm.
So I'm just popping a couple videos in the purple pill because I think really this one you just have to see it to really grasp it. But it's actually powered by hydraulics and water. It's incredible. I'm putting one more down there. Hang on.
Okay. Functional robot hand by Clone. One of the first things people can see when they look at a robot hand that Clone has built is how it resembles a real human hand wearing gray gloves. The way it holds objects, tennis ball, saw, apothecary bottle, kettlebell, and even a drill, gives the impression of how natural its movements are, as if it's been doing this grab and hold method for a long time. Clone says it is building the world's first biomimetic power dance androids with human level hands to solve the most common problems of daily life. Over the past 8 months, the team has invested its research and time in trying to produce this light, cheap, fast, and durable clone hand. By the looks of it, the team has gone through several tests which culminated in a successful, fully functioning robot hand. The clone hand V15 has 16 new muscles to its spec from its original number of just 20, rounding up to a total of 36 muscles. This helps the robot hand to have full 27 degrees of freedom, including all joints in the thumb. In the past 8 months, we iteratively updated the design and assembly process of our hydraulic muscles, improving the durability from 5,000 cycles to more than 650,000 cycles. Okay. And I'll show the video that you pinned on YouTube.
Yeah. So what I think is really exciting and also like mildly terrifying, but mostly exciting about Clone is The strength. The strength of this right now it's just hands. They're also working on a torso, and eventually it will be a full humanoid, but they're really trying to perfect the dexterity of the hands before like the rest of the body is fairly easy to incorporate into well, not walking as much. However, what I think is really impressive about Clone, aside from the strength, is that it can already, as far as dexterity goes, do things that the human hand cannot. I posted a video a while ago uh, that I'll pop that down in the purple pill too, seeing if anyone could do what this robot was doing with its hand. And at first, it looks like just simple movements. It's like moving the thumb towards the palm of the hand and then bending the other fingers, but no one that I know can do it. If you can do it, totally comment on it. I'm going to put it in the purple pill. But we're at the point in robotics where the machines are exceeding that of human dexterity, and that's wild. So the way that it's able to move this hand uh, is in like two different time sequences, which the most impressive time sequence keepers that I know are usually drummers. They can keep four different tempos with their right hand, right foot, which is really impressive. If there are any musicians down there, it's hard to keep two tempos with different hands, let alone four. But we can't do it on one hand, and that's because of the way that our brain hemispheres work. The right side of your brain controls the left side of your body, left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, and it is physically not possible for us to do what this robot is doing with its fingers, and we're only at the beginning. And it's stronger than me. So stronger than me, it's more dexterous than me. I'm going to put this one on the probably not outrunnable list, but absolutely incredible. Powered by water.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, these are impressive, but how do you, so like when you see something like this, obviously there are dozens, if not hundreds of companies like this one around the world. How do you distinguish between, okay, this is, a important material breakthrough versus
I put
just
that other video in the purple pill, but seriously, if you can do this with your hand, like comment with a video. I want to see it. I don't believe you.
um how do you distinguish between this video being just kind of a demo versus a material breakthrough that should shape our understanding of the future? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking, I can't hear you, so I'm gonna leave and
Oh,
come
okay.
back.
All right. All right. Can you hear me a bit?
Again, sorry about that. I hope
That's
I
okay.
was not talking all over you.
That's totally fine. So that's not your fault. It's just this app crazy. Um, anyway, how do you distinguish between when you see a demo like this? How do you distinguish between, okay, this is a material breakthrough versus just another demo from some startup trying to raise capital?
It's a good question. Mostly just the capabilities. Uh, I've never seen anything like it, and I have talked to the people at Clone a few times. They're a really cool team, and um, yeah, I don't. I mean, the way that it moves is so human. It doesn't look like robotics, and we're already there in 2024.
How did you come across this? How did you come across the company?
I'm consistently just searching all new robotics updates, mostly on X. People knock the search feature on here, but I just type in all new robotics updates, mostly on X. People knock the search feature on here, but I just type
And how did you meet the team? Did you just kind of reach out to them?
I reposted, oh, that the video where I asked if anyone could do that with their hand, because I was convinced no one could. And a few of my musician friends were like, I can do that. I was like, okay, post a video. And then they were like, never mind, I can't actually do that. Um, and that got a lot of engagement. So they either liked it or maybe commented on it, and then started kind of regularly engaging with my content and followed me. So I messaged them and asked if I could interview them sometime in a space. They said yes.
Okay. So this is one of the developments that you believe is most material in recent weeks. This company coming out with this hand that is able to do functions, move like beyond what a human hand can do, right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the most compelling robotics updates that I've seen in a long time.
Okay. And what's the next one?
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
What's another development that you believe is material beyond this hand, for example?
Do you want to talk robotics or AI?
Either one.
I think now we enter the era of marrying AI, intelligent AI, with robotics. And that's going to be really where everything changes. Like that clone right now is just ran off some coding telling it to do that with its fingers. But when it is connected inevitably to some sort of LLM or Optimus with its real world understanding and computer vision and ability to navigate the real world and make decisions in real time, uh, in conjunction with having access to a large language model to interface with us humans and as its brain. Uh, the sky is the limit, but the next few months will absolutely be exciting. But it's that marriage of AI and robotics that I'm most looking forward to.
Okay. Clone Robotics is a company focused on developing advanced humanoid robots with remarkably lifelike hands. Their goal is to create androids that can perform tasks in the real world, eventually solving common problems of daily life. Key aspects of their technology: anthropomorphic, anthropomorphic hands. Clone Robotics has developed synthetic hands with artificial muscles and custom valves designed to closely mimic the dexterity and range of motion of human hands. They believe this design will allow their robots to learn tasks more efficiently from human demonstrations. Power dense androids. Their goal extends beyond just hands. They're working on building complete humanoid bodies for their androids. Machine learning. Clone Robotics leverages machine learning techniques to train their robots, potentially enabling them to learn new skills from a single demonstration. Fundraising. The company has raised funds through platforms like Republic to support their research and development. Mm. If you were Elon, would you acquire this company for their technology?
Yeah, if I was anyone, I would acquire this company for their technology. Um, just the human-like design. So you might have said this already when I couldn't really hear, but what I find most interesting about them is that the robotics are designed to mimic the muscular skeletal system of humans. And that's just not how we've designed any other robotics on the market. Uh, the movement between being hydraulic powered, essentially water powered, and being modeled after our musculoskeletal system, uh, this is like the most humanoid, but yeah, I would acquire them if I were anyone.
Okay, so let's say you're Elon and I'm the founder of Clone Robotics. and I say I want $1 billion, Sierra. $1 billion or no deal. What do you say?
Sold.
Really? You would pay $1 billion for this hand?
It's also the material that they're using, um, which I'm so upset that their website is under construction right now. They had really great information on there about how the torso will work as well. But I mean, I guess anyone could. We're in the era where if you can reverse engineer it, you can build it yourself. There's nothing like terribly proprietary here, so maybe not $1 billion. But I hope that companies like this won't get ripped off for innovating first and doing things differently.
But I said $1 billion is my minimum price, Sierra. Deal or no deal?
If I'm Elon, uh, yeah, I don't know. I would buy it.
For $1 billion, you would buy. Okay. Wow. Uzi, how about you?
But correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, it would essentially be like redesigning Optimus entirely. Like you couldn't take this hand and stick it on Optimus. You just couldn't. The internal components are not anything alike. Um, However, what I love to put Optimus's vision capabilities inside a bot with this type of dexterity that's hydraulic powered. Yes. Would I like XAI to be the brain of that bot? Yes. Uh, I, Optimus's dexterity is impressive. We saw it handle an egg delicately without accidentally cracking it in an earlier demo this year. Um, but it's certainly not this. I I've not seen anything else like this on the bot market, and all I do is look at humanoid robots day in and day out, and the mechanical movement that you get with metal and gears and actuators, it's not there. This movement is fluid like water because it is water, and it moves the way that our muscles move. It's crazy.
Would you pay $1 billion for this hand?
For Tesla, I don't really see it. If I was XAI, I mean, they didn't even have any funding. So I probably wouldn't for Tesla, but I would, I do think it's something like NVIDIA is looking at where they're trying to make the base model for robotics. So maybe they'll invest in Clone AI. So I think they've invested in, I know they invested in Figure. I think Sanctuary AI. They're really spreading their basket with the hardware side. I mean, obviously the chips are hardware, but the robotics part, that's the real question with NVIDIA.
So Uzi says, don't invest. Sierra says, invest $1 billion. What do we do? We are at a standstill.
What about you? You're the third person, huh? Or macro analyst, huh?
Let's see.
There's a high pitching screen.
Try again.
All right. Is that better? That's what I get for trying to make a joke. This space is a disaster. Who is the host here? Well, I don't know anything about this company. It's obviously a private company, and I would have to see some review, some technology that they have. This is obviously a venture capital type of investment, and I would have to dive deep into their technology. I guess the question is, can Tesla Optimus team replicate or do even better without having to spend $1 billion on a company like this? Like, you can spend $1 billion on acquiring the company, or you can hire people that'll do better for half the price or 1/10 the price, right? Can you? See, I guess that kind of begs the question, Sierra, what is their secret sauce here? Sierra, can you hear?
I'm having some audio issues. You sound super far away. Sorry. You want me to drop and come back up?
Can you hear me better now?
I can, and I thoroughly enjoy hearing you ask if we can hear you.
What's their secret sauce?
The hydraulics, for sure. Yeah, the hydraulics, and also just being modeled off of the human muscular skeletal system. But definitely the hydraulics. And I
But
just
I
want
was,
to
yeah.
interject. So I just read that the cost to produce this hand, do you want to guess what it might be?
I don't know, but before that, so I was told that hydraulics, they're harder to maintain. They can break easier, and like versus actuators, and they don't quite scale as well as um, you know, Tesla's methodology. What do you say to that?
I say I wished I had a diagram of the torso that they designed, because the way that they designed it handles a lot of the typical problems with hydraulics. And unfortunately, let me see if I can find one. Some are not on their site. Um, but I think when you hear the cost to develop, it won't matter as much that the longevity is not there.
Okay. What is the cost to develop?
$2,800 to develop that hand with 27 degrees of freedom with a grip strength of 15 pounds.
And that's $2,800 per hand at volume.
They're not at volume yet. So no, that's like to date, like today, right now. I would
So
like to say I maybe wouldn't pay $1 billion for that. And also, that is wild. Like, that's so much lower than I would have anticipated.
and what's the source of that figure?
Grok. So take it with a grain of salt. However, it looks like it was scraped from their website before they took down their website.
Okay, so the company is the source, and did they say anything about any allocation of fixed costs, or is it just raw materials?
No, it doesn't give that much detail, just that it's $2,800 to produce the hand and arm.
Okay, humanities.
Yeah, I was going to address what you kind of sort of addressed with your questions about the upkeep and such, but I'm also wondering about temperature. If it's cold out, is it going to freeze and not work? I do think the hydraulics are going to be low pressure, not high pressure, so it's not as bad as you might think. But I do worry about maintainability.
Okay, what was their joke about?
Oh, I was making a 420 joke. I was trying to get a 420 joke in there with your 1269. Am I the only one that thought that was funny?
But where does the 10 hours come from?
I had to come up with something that was a price to where I could use $4.20. So I
Oh, I
figured
see.
it's a 10-hour time window. Yeah. But well, like I said, if I have to explain it, it's not funny.
Yeah. Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay. Uzi, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Super excited for the space.
Yeah, what do you think about it?
I don't want to be rude, but I think it's like, I don't know, it's not like a cute tool, but it's just one part of a whole complex body. I mean, I haven't seen the torso. I do love the
No,
videos.
what do you think of the space?
Oh, the space. I think it's working. I mean, I mean, I just like the other one. It's great to have a true expert like Sierra or Omar that really understands the technology and can get into the technicals. But you're a good host, so I have no problem with you. Um, and the topics are pretty accessible. You can see the video and understand what we're talking about quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get much out of like we don't know anything about this company, you know, and we can't speculate with this and that, but like if I end the space here right now, 30 minutes into it, what do we learn out of today?
Well, I missed the first 10 minutes, but I would venture to say that, you know, scaling robotics is not easy. That's what were. I don't know if it's definitive based off the hydraulics comment. Again, Sierra can correct me. And on the other hand, there's this cool company called Clone that has specialized precision movements or delicate movements for a robotic hand. And I'll add my 2 cents. I think that's really important for robotics because that's what distinguishes like humans from other creatures is our opposable thumbs, but our ability to this precision, I guess, movement where you could pick up something softly and then not break it like the egg. So in seeing Optimus pick up an egg, which Sierra just mentioned, was one of those game changer moments for me. Just sort of bringing the philosophy of why I'm so bullish on Optimus.
So how are you bullish on Optimus? What's your timeline? How many Optimus do you think we're gonna have in the world by 2030?
I was thinking of our conversation earlier today, and I would like to draw back the robotaxi numbers. I said 5 million by 2030. That's aside though. But for Optimus, I think the real question is can you scale the data? And that's really, it's limited by you have a certain amount of people that are using a Meta
Okay,
Quest.
but what's the answer to my question? How many Optimus by 2030?
What is Elon saying? 10 billion by 2030? I
What
think
are
it'll
you
be.
saying? But I'm asking you. I'm not asking Elon. I'm not asking what Elon said. I'm asking for one number. How many Optimus by 2030?
I think it would be like 2 to 5 billion. I mean, if it's 10 billion, that's just my Polaris, but I really don't see like further than 10 billion. That'd be ridiculous. So maybe in the hundreds of millions, absolutely see some Optimus by 2030.
Okay. Humanities?
Yeah, gosh, I'm going all over the place now with that last question. I do see a lot of potential with the robotic hand that we just looked at with the hydraulics, because if you think about hooking AI up that's going to learn at a pace that may be a million times faster than a human, imagine what it's going to learn to do with its body once it does learn to manipulate every portion that it can. It's got a lot of potential. I certainly wouldn't pay $1 billion. I might pay 50 million if I can hire the employees and bring everything over. And then in regards to the question about the number of Optimus, I can't see that they're going to scale up in that time frame. I've been watching a lot about analysts looking at this, and I've seen optimistic numbers in 2030 of 127 million, but that's pretty optimistic in my opinion. So I think we're gonna have less than $1 billion by 2030.
Okay. How did you come up with the $50 million price for Clone Robotics?
Well, I'm just looking at, I don't know anything about their numbers. I'm just thinking that you could duplicate their technology with less money than that. So if you want it immediately, you could pay 50 million for it. Otherwise, you can do it yourself in a year.
But how do you know
Um,
that? Because we don't know
well,
anything about what is necessary to replicate the hand, right?
Well, if it's working on hydraulics, it's going to have, certain pressure sensors and actuators that alter the pressure and flow of the hydraulic fluid to make things move in a certain way. Same thing our body does, right? So they just took a completely different approach. Optimus seems to be more mechanical, and this seems to be trying to literally mimic the human body. I mean, that's how we work, right? We're hydraulic robots, organic.
Well, Tesla made a design choice to use custom design actuators rather than hydraulics. Hydraulics is used mostly by Boston Dynamics Atlas, right? So why would they go hydraulic with the hand?
Well, I think your range of motion and your capabilities increase. Is that required? I'm not sure it is. So that's one of the questions I had. I'm like, well, that's impressive. And it may be the future 10 years from now, but I don't think it's the future 2 years from now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting if they, with the rest of the body, they went electric custom design actuators, and then the rest of it, the hands, they went with hydraulics. I just doesn't think. I mean, unless somebody can kind of convince, maybe Uzi can try. Uzi, if you had to argue that Tesla should go with hydraulics for the hands, what would you say?
I thought we mentioned the scalability part over like production. And yeah, I do think I was misreading the quote. I think a couple hundred million is very bullish for 2030. I don't think the billions are. I think the 10 billions over the lifetime. Maybe that's what the quote was. But for the hydraulics for hands, and Sierra can correct me. It doesn't that have problems with, I guess, like different types of environments?
My audio is really not good tonight. I got like every other word of that. Um, Mostly just problems with different environments, and Sierra can correct me. So if somebody could fill in the blanks in between those words, that would be great.
Yeah, I can hear Uzi fine. Humanities, can you hear Uzi fine?
100%. Yep.
Yeah. Sarah, I think there's an issue with your audio today.
I'm on Starlink
Let
too.
me drop down and come back up one more time.
By the way, I'm gonna make YouTube live chat members only. Members only. We have trolls in there that just kind of flooding the comments. I don't like that at all. How do I change this? You know, YouTube gives creators tremendous amount of power over content and the interactions during these live chats. Like I can make somebody disappear basically, and their soul wouldn't know a thing different. That they would just be typing away, thinking they're flooding my live chat, and nobody would even see what the hell they're saying. But I don't want to do that because it's just so cruel, you know. But this one guy called Paul Matthews, all he does is just FUD, 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 and I've just had it. So go away from my channel. Gone. Now let's go to customization. Members only. Live chat. You want to say something? You have to pay. There you go. Ridiculous. Steven asks, how does the hand learn? Sierra, do you know? I guess they said machine learning, didn't they?
Yeah, it is machine learning. And they're right now using a Raspberry Pi to communicate to it, and it stores a fair amount of the training data on it. But it's not like vision capable. Obviously, it's a hand yet.
Raimo says, one Optimus produced every 10 minutes for 5 years is just over 260,000. 10 lines are 2.6 million. Billions seems many years down the line, in his opinion, Uzi.
Yeah, I have to look at that. I do think I was misquoting 10 billion. So the millions is quite bullish too. And like I said before, I think Robotaxi becomes before Optimus. So would it be Optimus be a 2030 run up? I mean, I hope not because I love Tesla, but it does seem like that. This like the scaling. People believe the scaling will happen next year, which I'm somewhat. I mean, I'm excited for, but or in 2 years from now, they'll sell like a couple thousand next year, and then the year after that, hundreds of thousands. So, um, you know, Tesla would have to either revamp their factories or whatever it is, because I heard they're doing it with their hands right now. So that's not scalable the way it's being produced now.
Yeah. Well, you just went from billions to millions in a matter of 5 minutes.
It's called growth. No. Hey, I think the thing with Optimus is that the final design isn't fleshed out yet, and they're still working on that last patent. But if there's anyone that can scale production in the United States, it's Tesla. Especially, I think they're the best hardware manufacturer on scale by far. So if they're revamping some factories for that, I mean, they already have existing, I guess, capacity that just needs to be, I don't know if retrofit is the right word, or uh, reapplied to Optimus, and it would be faster to produce these bots behind Tesla than what NVIDIA is trying to do with giving money to Sanctuary AI or Figure AI.
Humanities, how many robotaxis do you expect in 2030? Tesla robotaxis.
Oh, I would say they're going to by 2030, and then you'd have to work backwards. I'd say they're going to be doing by that time the number they're producing in all vehicles now. I think the robotaxi is going to be scaled down and easier to produce. So I don't think it's going to require the number of factories that one might think, but it depends on how many they want to put out. I don't have a number. What do we produce now in total vehicles? Like I'm part of Tesla, I say we, but do you know what the total per year production of vehicles is?
I do. Do you?
I don't.
Okay, let's move you down to listener mode. We need to change this. I need to think more about how I want this space to continue. Sierra, have you heard this paper called "An Image is Worth 16 by 16 Words: Transformers for Image Recognition at Scale"?
I have that.
Okay. Have you heard of high-resolution image synthesis with latent diffusion models?
No. Do you know who authored these, either or both?
Let me see. My goodness, how many authors are there for these papers?
Usually
And
like 6 to 10 if they're symposiums.
yeah. And images words, 16 by 16 words, is Alexei Dosovitsky, Lucas Baer, Alexander Kolesnikov, Dirk Weissenborn, and it goes on. High resolution image synthesis with latent diffusion models, Robin Rambach, Andrea Blattman, Dominic Lorenz. Any of those ring a bell?
No, does it say the university that they're writing from? Usually they'll include, so the just most technical papers like that, the first 3 people, or they list people in order of contribution. So like the first 3 people probably contributed the most to the paper. The first person usually the most.
I don't know. It sounds like everybody gets a medal. But let's see. An images worth 16 by 16 goes, this paper introduced a new architecture for image recognition that utilizes transformers, the type of neural network architecture originally designed for natural language processing. Okay, and a high resolution image synthesis with latent diffusion models. This paper presents a novel approach for generating high resolution images using diffusion models, a type of generative model that has recently gained attention for its ability to produce high quality images. Uzi, pop quiz. How many more parameters in 12.5 models?
How many more parameters in 12.5 models?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Watch me get bounced.
Sierra, do you know?
I know that it's 5 times the amount of parameters, which I believe breaks out to 400 more.
5 times as many parameters as 12.4. Okay. What do you think will be the miles per critical? You know what I'm kind of thinking about doing is a spreadsheet that tracks people's predictions about these things, and then we'll see who's closest over time. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I'm down for that. I'm also down for the discounted cash flow model. I think those
Well,
are great.
here's the problem with discounted cash flow model. Okay, everybody's like so freaking. So the reality is there are numerous validation methods for companies and products or any project. Okay, and every single one of them has their pros and cons and strengths and weaknesses. And DCS were, you know, useful when I was trying to prove that when Model 3 gets to profitability, Tesla will have a short squeeze. That was basically how I started doing DCFs back in 2016, 2017 for Tesla. But that's not necessarily the way to go about today, because we're really trying to understand more about Optimus and robotaxis. And if I ask a question like, how many robotaxis in 2030? People's answers range from 0 to 50 million. How the hell am I going to put that into DCF? And you ask another guy, what do you think Optimus is going to be in 2030? He goes 2 to 5 billion. And then 5 months later, well, maybe 10 million. I'm like, how are you going to put that to DCF? So DCF is not necessarily the right way to go about valuing Tesla right now either. So we have a problem in our hands. But I don't know how this AI space can help us better understand what's most likely by 2030 either. So that's why I'm kind of still trying to figure it out.
Well, there's other. When I heard the AI space, I was thinking it wouldn't just be Tesla AI. It would be like, what's a digital twin, or break down some other things like even what's a parameter, and what makes that up. Like it could be really basic and theoretical, and it also can be, how does this apply to Tesla? Because the audience is all from Tesla Live, of course. But there's a lot of ways we could take it. Like even digital twin might be relevant to Optimus in some way, or in the future, where if I'm citing it correctly, digital twin is like you have the individual, and then you use their data to create. Obviously, we're using the same term, but a a twin of who they are, and with AI, and then you can use that and put it into Optimus or something like that. Like it doesn't need to necessarily just be Tesla AI, because we covered that a lot in this space with more speakers.
Yeah, it should basically, like, any topic, any paper, any company, product that helps us better understand the future is the topic of Monday night spaces. So like I guess like did talking about the hand company, Clone Robotics, did that help us narrow down possible outcomes for Optimus in the next 5-10 years? Or would talking about an image is worth 16 by 16, would that help us? I don't know. Probably not. Humanities?
Yeah. How are we supposed to be able to predict these things? I think Elon would have a hard time predicting how many robotaxis are produced and on the road by 2030. I mean, we don't know their ability to bring up production lines and the speed at which they're going to do that. We don't know the mechanism by which they're going to build these robotaxis. We have no idea what the scale capabilities are. These are really questions that aren't answerable at this time, in my opinion. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I just kind of yeah, I mean, I can say, for example, one example you said was we don't know their production line plans, but I don't think their production lines are the limiting factor to robotaxis, right? Like if they had the software today, they can build production lines. So I don't think understanding the production lines is most, bang for our seconds.
Well, I'm referring to we don't know what their abilities to acquire the necessary um, raw materials that they need. We don't know if there's any supply chain issues. We don't know how fast they're going to produce these robotaxis. Are they going to be 3 times as fast as a car? Maybe, I don't know. Or how many lines are they going to have? Or do they have some? I'm guessing they have some new way of building these vehicles that's going to be much faster than the current vehicles. But that's a guess.
Okay, Sierra?
I just wanted to, I don't know, shed some light on the difference between the humanoid bots and the current humanoid bot landscape. So Optimus is targeting being a general purpose robot, general purpose humanoid robot. So that's going to be one that like you and I can have in our homes, maybe our small to medium sized businesses, and I'm sure there are commercial applications as well. But the goal is for it to be as useful as possible and be able to carry out as many human like tasks as possible. I think it is important to note that there's not going to be, I don't think, one bot to rule them all, so to speak. They will all have different applications. So, like clone robotics with its incredible dexterity, which is maybe not as durable as Optimus because of the material selection, might be ideal for surgical precision type of applications where extreme dexterity is required, like actually surgery, perhaps, or anything else that requires really, really really fine motor skills. Atlas, Boston Dynamics Atlas, is really agile. It's really good on a number of terrains. It's fast. Its mobility is kind of insane, but it's not that smart. The brain is not there. Atlas is targeting. Also, the hands on Atlas are weird. It's a 3-finger digit versus a 5-finger digit, which automatically rules out some humanoid applications. Atlas is more targeting industrial applications, being able to grip like larger things, and there's rumors of them targeting the military industrial complex. So I think they all have different applications, and they're not necessarily directly competitive. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get 3 guesses to close it off. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to publish this on YouTube, but this episode, we'll figure that out later. I'll figure that out later. Let's get 3 guesses. How many robotaxis and how many Optimus in 2030? Tesla only. Tesla robotaxis, Tesla Optimus, 2 numbers. I want 2 numbers in 2030. Let's start with Uzi.
So if I looked at the production numbers. It's about 400,000, and you have what? Like
Sir, I just want 2 numbers.
all right, so I'd say like about 750,000 to like 1.5 million.
Of what?
What do you mean? You said
So
2
1
guesses.
number for robotaxis and 1 number for Optimus.
Oh, okay. So I'll go 1 million robotaxis and 500,000 Optimus.
Okay. Let's go to humanities.
Robotaxis, 6 million. Optimus. I don't want to be too optimistic. I'm gonna say 20 million.
Okay. Saving the best for the last. Sierra.
Robotaxi, 4 million. Optimus, 10 million.
All right. We're going to end it there. And I will be back next Monday night. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your participation. And I will see you tomorrow at Tesla Live and AI Space next Monday. Take care. Good night.